Hello everybody, today we are going to talk about the Hermit card. We're gonna look at the Majory later, and you're gonna say, oh, the Hermit card. Hermit already says a lot about the meaning of this card, right? Which is about solitude, which is about introspection, which is about meditation. But if you know tarot, you know that each tarot card has different layers of meaning. And so the Hermit card also means wisdom, it means searching, it means seeking, but not outward, right? It means searching within us, it means a journey inward, it means self-study. And so when we get this card, we can reflect on how much of our lives is spent reaching outward, trying to understand others, care for others, please others, compare ourselves to others. And so the Hermit represents the moment when we realize that no amount of outside noise can give us the answers we are truly searching for. And so the Hermit asks us to move within, to meditate, to reflect, and in some cases also to actually spend some time alone, to get to know ourselves on a deeper level, without any external noise, without any external distraction. In yoga philosophy, I'm a yoga teacher, there is this concept called svadhyaya, which means the study of the self. And I think that this is exactly what this energy is, the Hermit. You know, moving within us to discover not the polished version of ourselves that we want to show to the world and also to ourselves, right? But the deeper truth we hold within. And this deeper truth can be a lot of things. Can be the softness we have within, and the kindness, can be the strength or the anger or the beauty or the messiness or the confidence and the uncertainty, and can be all of it. All the part of us that are healing and all the part of us that are also still hurting, all together. It's all there. So the Hermit is not interested in perfection. You know, it's not interested in the end of the journey or the outcome. As you see, the Hermit is still walking and going somewhere. So the Hermit is not interested in focusing on external things, on external achievement, but the Hermit is interested in what's truly there within us, within ourselves. And yoga really allows this connection with the Hermit energy. Think about that. You are there on your yoga mat and there is nowhere to hide. There are no phones, no social media, no TV. All the daily distractions that take your mind away from yourself are not there to use. So you have to pay attention to yourself, to your body, to your breath. And while you are paying attention to yourself, you might start noticing things about you that you didn't know about yourself. And you might start see some kind of truth. And that truth that comes from within can feel uncomfortable at times. It's not always easy. Because when we finally start listening to ourselves, we may discover things about us, like patterns, feelings, fears, desires that we were avoiding. And we don't want to face like them. Sometimes that's why the Hermit card is so hard sometimes to embrace and to be in. It's an energy where we try to run away because we don't want to always face. We're not ready to face sometimes what we see, because it's painful at times, right? But the Hermit is not just about that. You have to understand that in the Hermit energy, you don't always see the ugliness in you. You see also the beauty. You see the wise part of yourself, the loving, the strong and creative and deeply authentic part of yourself. And so yes, there are certainly uncomfortable truths when you move into the Hermit energy, and painful truths, but there are also some beauty, because there is so much beauty in each one of us, and the Hermit gives you the space to stop and smell the flowers within you, right? To stop and look at the sky of your inner dimension, and that's a beautiful part of the Hermit, and that's why we have to go within. And also, when we meet the painful parts, the beauty of the Hermit energy is that the Hermit energy is not there to change those parts of us. The Hermit energy is there only to bring light on them. The work that we have to do on those parts is after the Hermit, it's outside the Hermit energy. The Hermit energy is a non-judgmental energy. It's an energy where you don't fix, you don't change, you don't judge, you don't force, but you are there just witnessing, there just looking at yourself with honesty. You're there looking at things that maybe in that moment you are not ready to change, you're not ready to fix, you're not ready to embrace, right? And you are there only to notice them. And noticing them is the first step toward healing. That's why the Hermit energy is very important stage in our healing journey, because it helps us to understand better where we have to do the work in ourselves. Where is the tension, where is the tightness, where is the fear, where is the pain, but also where is the joy, where is the creativity, where is the love, and use this positive aspect of us to work on the ones that are a little bit darker and try to balance them, try to heal the darkest part of us using the light in us. And it doesn't mean that we become all light being, because that it is impossible. Some shadow in us will never leave, but it means that when we get out of the Hermit energy, when we are ready to do the work, when we are ready to face our fears and our pain and our shadow, it means that we can integrate those parts of us that are a little bit darker and not let them jeopardize our lives. But that's not the work of the Hermit. The Hermit is just here to show you where you need to work, where the work has to be done. One thing about the Hermit energy is that in our society, in our modern world, we want to get distracted. We really want to get distracted. We don't want to move inward, because sometimes we also don't have time. Everything moves so fast. Even us, we move so fast. One day we're sad, one day we are joyful, and it's so, it's like just like so we want to stay on the surface because it's easier, you know, and so we keep moving outward, so we don't have to fully hear or see what is happening within us. We stay on these surface feelings and we don't go deep within us to see what's behind them, what's under them. And so in this way, you know, looking for outward feelings, outward distraction, it's impossible to find peace. The peace that we can find in this way, it's ephemeral. It doesn't stay longer because it's not the one that we have within us. And so the Hermit teaches us that peace, the real peace, it's within. And it doesn't have to be like perfect. And we don't have to have everything figured out in order to experience it. But we can find peace in learning how to stay connected to ourselves, even when life keeps changing, even when life becomes so fast, even if while we are both growing and struggling, both expanding and contracting, both healing and still hurting. And we become aware of all of it, all what's happening within us, all this like different side of us without judgment. Again, the Hermit is not here to judge you. The Hermit is not here to fix you. The Hermit is not here to fix or adjust or no. It's just here to show you something that you need to see. And in order to see it, you need stillness, you need silence, you need to move inward. You need to be alone for a moment. You need to meditate. You need to start creating the space to have this conversation with yourself, away from the external distraction, and moving to that place within you where there is nowhere left to hide, to yourself, of course. And when you can hear your inner voice more clearly, but not the critic voice, not the judgment voice, that is surface level, right? The inner voice within you, the one, the true one, the higher self one. I'm gonna tell you some questions that the Hermit card can ask you the moment you move inward. What is your inner voice trying to tell you? What truth keeps asking for your attention? Are you living in alignment with your values? Are your habits nurturing your life? Are you creating a life that actually brings you joy? So the Hermit reminds us, and it's a big, big reminder, that there is no relationship more important than the relationship we have with ourselves. And the beautiful thing is that the more deeply we know ourselves, the more authentically we can meet the world. The more compassion we have for ourselves, the more compassion we have for others. It's a beautiful energy of self-exploration, of self-study, of looking at yourself in the most honest way. And again, ask yourself, when you go in that place within you, ask yourself questions and find honesty to answer them with truth. So I would say that the Hermit is really a journey home, a journey toward yourself. One thing about the Hermit that can be a little bit shadowy, it's that the Hermit can represent isolation or the fear of truly being seen. Sometimes we go in the Hermit energy not for a real journey inward, but because we don't want to be seen. We are afraid to be seen. Because sometimes the journey inward becomes so comfortable that we are protective of this solitude, right? We are afraid to step into the world, and we start hiding. And so it's more a withdrawal than a reconnecting with ourselves. We withdraw not to heal, but to avoid vulnerability, to avoid connection, to avoid exposure. Another shadow part of the hermit can be that we hide part of ourselves out of fear that others may not understand, accept, or love who we truly are. And so we stay in the hermit energy because we don't want to be judged. We are afraid to be rejected or something like that. And hermit energy can also mean, in some cases, feeling alone, maybe in a relationship, maybe in your job, maybe in your life in general, having this sense of alienation. Don't feel that we are part of something, don't feel that we belong. And so we don't want, when we are in that state, we don't want to participate in the human connection, which is an important part of our healing journey, because we can do the self-discovery, we have to do the self-discovery alone, but in order to learn a lesson, in order to be triggered, part of us, they need to be triggered by others in order for us to see them sometimes. Otherwise they stay hidden within us, and we can go as deep as you can, and we can, but we won't find them because those parts, they need other energy to be acknowledged. And so if we stay in the hermit energy and we don't explore the world, the healing is not happening for real, because to heal sometimes and often we need confrontation, we need other energies within us, we need the human connections. And what else? Yeah, that's more or less everything I have to say about the hermit. I'm pretty sure there is so much more and about this energy, and I love it. I mean, the hermit is an energy that I'm comfortable with, because I like to be alone, I'm comfortable being alone. I like being in my inner world, and I'm not afraid of the ugliness in me. I'm not afraid of the beauty in me, because sometimes we are also afraid to discover something beauty, like love and kindness. People are afraid of being kind, of love. Sometimes it happens. Believe me, it happens. People are afraid of, and I'm not afraid of feelings. I'm not afraid to see myself. That's maybe because I'm a Pisces and I'm comfortable with feelings, with the water energy, with fluidity and emotions. And in this card, for example, I like the Hermit. This is like Pamela Love deck. I like that the Hermit has water. The Hermit is standing in water, because the hermit energy actually requires really stay connected with your emotions. It doesn't look like that, because when you see the traditional card, which is this one, I'm gonna talk about this later, it doesn't talk, you don't see any feeling in any, but you do need to stay connected with your emotion and feelings, because if you are afraid of your feelings and your emotions, you will find the hermit energy so uncomfortable, and moving into that energy will become almost impossible for you, or very painful and hard. And I also like that the tarot deck has this shell on the head, it's beautiful, because it really says, you are alone with yourself in this energy. You just need to, keep the outside world out of you. It's really cool. I really like this. This is becoming one of my favorite deck. I love it, you know. Okay, and instead we have the more traditional one, which is I love this. I love this because there is like snow, and I always think that often we go in the hermit energy when we are sad. And there is a book I read called, I think, Wintering. I don't remember the author, but often when we go in the hermit energy, we are wintering. There is some kind of sadness that pushes us to go in the hermit energy. There is some kind of self-reflection, introspection. Think about winter, all the things you do in winter when it's but really winter, when it's snowing outside. You know, you stay inside your house and you just like, you don't go out very much. And so this, for me, the snow represents like the winter within us. And there is also another aspect of this card that I like, which is the lantern, that is like illuminating something, but there is nothing around the hermit. So what is truly illuminating? It's the inside of this energy, the inside us, because, you know, it's only us and nothing else when we are in this energy, the hermit energy. And so this light is bringing light to the parts of us that are hidden and in the shadow, and this lantern is showing us those parts. This is nice because this is the Wild Unknown one, another of my favorite tarot deck, and the Hermit is a turtle. It's so cute because, you know, when you are in the Hermit energy, you retreat in your how do you call this, shell? It's not a shell, but in your little shell, let's say shell, and there is this light that is kind of guiding you in this journey inward. And I love this card because this turtle symbolism is very much the hermit energy. This is another card that I like. You know, there is like this hermit, it's kind of like suspended. It's not like sitting anywhere. I don't think there is something under the hermit butt. And so it's kind of levitating, and this is the power when we move inward and we meditate and we strongly go inside us and we really remove all the outside noises, so we can really be magic, we can levitate and have this sense of getting lost in ourselves. And then this one is, I mean, the Little Prince tarot deck, it's so smart. Like, I love each card. And this one is another aspect of the Emperor. Why is this the Emperor? The Hermit, which is, there is a quote that says, I don't know who says that, but I remember there is a quote that says, people, humans, they are so focused on finding out what's in the universe, in the stars, and know very little about themselves. And this represents that part of the hermit, the shadow side, the part, the reversed hermit, when you focus so much in something that is so far for you that you shouldn't really care about it, and you can't really focus on exploring yourself. I think that's it. I think that was it about the hermit, and thank you for listening. I'm gonna do a reading about this energy for the end of the week, and if you liked, just a comment, like, subscribe, and you know, it's an easy way to support my work. And also tell me something more about the hermit energy, something that you want to share with me, some pearl of wisdom about this energy. How do you live it? How do you express it? Yeah, tell me something about you.